On today's episode, we will be going into mainstream social media and analyzing the latest trend of paternity fraud. A few weeks back, a news surfaced the airwaves concerning a man who allegedly died after depression from a broken home. And the news purported that the man in question fathered two kids who was later discovered not to be his. And according to reports, that it belonged to another man whom the wife was seen in the organization at the time. Our topic today is not investigating the report. It's really important for me to emphasize on that. But we are drawing it as a case study for numerous paternity issues we have in our society. Paternity issues arise when there is a disagreement on who the biological father of a child is. Good news is that science and technology has introduced DNA tests to resolve some issues. So on the first segment of the show, really, I'm so excited about my guest in the studio today, and of course the one over the phone. But first thing let's really concentrate on the first segment because I have a lot to juice up from Liborous. But first thing first, like I said earlier, we have Dr. Odedino. He is a consultant from neonatologist, I hope I pronounced that well, at Reddington Hospital, a first-class hospital within the Heart of Lagos. Dr. Odedino is a healthcare practitioner and specializing as a pediatrician in Ikeja, Lagos, to be precise. And indeed, he has invested into, how will I put it, humanity with research works that have made him deal with human lives and also. Dr. Odedino, I can't help but ask, what is DNA and how does a test on it confirm the paternity of a child, if I may ask?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
For having me.
Yes.
DNA is, it stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, and it's a genetic material that one inherits from the parents, both the mother and the father. Like almost all tests in medicine, it is not 100%. Everybody knows the mother of the baby, but obviously when the child is born, the child is seen to come out from the mother. So it's usually the paternity that is always in question. So to do a DNA, first thing there must be consent. You can't just grab a child or the father and enforce it on them. So there must be consent to do the test, and it's just a simple test. There are different types of ways of doing this test. They have the home kits, which obviously are not as reliable as when you go to DNA centers. But the test is just done by taking a swab of the mouth, the inner cheek, or the saliva of the people in question, that is the father and the child, and checking the compatibility index. And usually it's about 99.99% in the best cases. It is not 100%.
All right. Many thanks for all that. In your line of work, from your own assessment, what is the rate of DNA testing in recent times? Has there been an increase?
Yeah, when we talk about rate of DNA test, so that means we are looking at our locality here.
Yes.
Here or Lagos in particular.
Yes.
Yes, with the modern trend, there's been an increase in DNA tests for several reasons.
Okay.
Usually bordering on the marital issues, where the father is suspicious and the children are not his. And almost in every corner now, we have DNA centers springing up left, right, and center. It's a good business now. And with the recent social media opera, most people are now requesting for DNA.
All right. Other than paternity and legality issues, what are other reasons why a DNA test could be taken? I know sometimes people need it for immigration purposes as well.
Yes, even if you are doing it for immigration purposes, it's just to know whether the parents and especially the father, is the biological father of the child. and it is not the biological father, it is adopted, there will be papers to support that. So the only thing DNA paternity test is used for is just to check the paternity of the child in question.
All right. So let me use the opportunity to open our phone lines again. You can call us on 0700 923 923 923. And again, 0700 923 923 923. And of course, you can send us a WhatsApp message on 0817 313 6193. You know, I'm still with you, Dr. Dedino. I know that Abiodun Salami, the Chief Medical Director, DNA Center, Lagos, said, I have seen and discussed with women who, for one reason or the other, decide in their own wisdom to give another man's child to their husbands without the husband's knowledge. From your own experience, what could be the causes of women taking this route?
Well, that's a very big question. I'll just try as much as possible to give you a quick example.
Okay.
Of something I witnessed when I was still in medical school.
Okay.
So you have, let's say the name is Mr. X. He takes on a third wife. The third wife is a graduate, but the first two wives are illiterate, and Mr. X too is an illiterate. And after a year and a half of being married to the third wife doesn't have any child for Mr. X. So Mr. X comes to the clinic to find out what is the problem. After all, he has 7 children by his 2 previous wives. To cut the long story short, since the first 2 were illiterate, they had a bond together. And the first wife, the children were fathered by the butcher that was supplying the house meat. Because the first wife's family member told her that he says the husband is having issues. So when this came out, when we did the seminal fluid analysis, and we found out that Mr. X doesn't have any viable sperm. To my shock, he got down on his first wife, and he thanked her for not exposing him. And in other cases, the man would have hit the roof and start raining, dancing, and fire. But he thanked her for not exposing him. So when you talk about causes, and I said it happens accidentally, you can find out that you are engaged to somebody, and right now, because the things are going on, there's no point being so religious here. You have people that still have chairmen or uncles that are somewhere in the background. And the first child comes out, and we're not sure who owns the child. Is it the uncle or the chairman or the fiancé? So several factors. You see in Yoruba land, it's only the mother that knows the true father. And I tell the mother might even know the father of the child. So there's several reasons. Greed, ambition, so many things.
All right. You know, with the explanation that you've given to us now, and with deeper insight, you know, we see that the real victims of paternity frauds are the children, and not even the men who were, frauded, so to speak. So based on your own knowledge, how do we manage the children who actually have, after decades of discovery that this is fraud, and they start demanding for answers?
Okay. A lot depends on our function.
Okay.
There's also a program on one of the cable channels, Paternity Course.
Okay.
I've watched a few episodes. I'm not sure whether it stayed with us. And at times you find out that a father that has raised a child up to adulthood happens not to be the biological father of the child. Okay. And when the paternity comes up and tells him, and he says, look, yes, I may not be the biological father of this child, but this is my child. I've raised this child. And the child also doesn't want to know any other person. So it depends mainly on the man, what the relationship is with that child. Because in dealing with a child, there's some bond. It's going to be very hard to work with. But at the same time, every time you look at the child, you are thinking, oh, my wife went elsewhere. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a sexist. Again, you have men also that have kids, their children from other women. And every time they see that child as well, they are reminded of their father's fidelity. So it goes both ways. And in our culture, it might be difficult to take.
All right. This will be my last question to you. I know that in the areas of social implication and its repercussions on the society, I have seen that paternity issues threaten the very stability and the balance of the society. So do you encourage DNA test as a last resort, or should it be a free access to all?
Yeah, putting on the spot.
Yeah, I just want to know from your own medical angle submission.
Now, once a man tells his wife that he wants a DNA test done, there is already a problem in that marriage, irrespective of what the result is. Now, as a pediatrician, obviously, I'm looking out for the well-being of the child. If the child belongs in a stable, loving environment, does the child have access to the basic amenities in life? If the test turns out that the father is not the father may decide to walk out. The mother may not be doing much and may not be able to support the child. They will start having issues. Child may drop out from school, become a street child, and the progression follows like that. And we know what usually happens to such children. They have they're liable to drugs, prostitution, crime, and the rest. So for a man to go ahead and say you want to do a DNA test, you have worked your marriage to its very core. I don't know which pastor or doctor can help with that. Better you don't know, unless it's obviously staring right there in your face.
All right. Many thanks for your insightful submission, Doctor. It is indeed a pleasant honor and an honor to have you and have your wealth of knowledge on the program today. Thank you so much for your contribution on the show today. And of course, we also feel highly esteemed that you heeded to our call from your busy schedule and the call of duty to enlighten Nigerians on paternity and DNA tests. Of course, we will definitely bring you back on the show when next we are discussing anything that is related to medical aspect of our society. Thank you again for sharing part of your evening with me. So,
thank you.
Yeah, we have another guest right here. If you are just tuning in, this is Real Talk with Kike, and we'll be bringing our second guest to discuss the segment in which our very own social activist and a public affairs commentator who is a legal expert by every inch of the profession. He is a lawyer, a very intelligent one. I actually emphasize. Some people called my attention to it. Why do you have to put intelligent lawyer? I said, don't worry, you'll get to know that when I bring him in the studio. He's a servant of the masses and an advocate of the people. He is in the studio with us today. Welcome, Liborous. I feel honored having you in the studio today.
My pleasure.
All right. Thank you for sharing part of your time with us today. So, just going straight to the point. But before we go straight to the point, Stanley, behave yourself. First thing it is good to see you, and I will say Happy New Year because I know that the last time we connected was actually via Instagram, thanks to technology. And of course, I need to ask you, how are you doing and have you been keeping safe?
I'm okay. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying.
All right. Good one. So from the legal dictionary, what is paternity fraud under the law?
As the name implies,
okay.
It's even. But before I go into that, I want to clarify something because the law presumes that once you are married, any child born of wedlock belongs to the man. That's the presumption. Okay. It is a presumption of law that even the Court of Appeal had said that though rebuttable, but cannot be pushed further than that. Okay. So the essence of that is to protect the sanctity and integrity of marriage. And then also, like the Court of Appeal stated, for the interest of the children. But so paternity fraud now is, like the name implies, fraud is a situation where, you fraudulently give a child that does not belong to a man or that belongs to another man to a different man. So it's, that's what paternity fraud is about. But in the West, it's been, a big issue now that people are even proposing that DNA should be used to establish every paternity and not just that presumption of marriage. But also here it's debatable. Some people have said, don't bother about it. After all, it takes more than biology to father a child. After all, you adopt children. And so to that extent, you shouldn't, for your sanity and the sanity of the children, that you shouldn't bother about doing a paternity test, DNA. But, like I said, it's debatable. Some people have said you have a right to know. In some cases also, when the children come of age, they also would want to know. It's not just enough to say, like we do traditionally those days, to say for the fact that they are married. Then, because also, by virtue of the Constitution, there are no illegitimate children. And so once a woman is married to a man, every child born of that relationship is presumed to be the child of, the man.
All right. Many thanks for all that. Listening to you, I can't help but ask this question because I know Nigerians are rank high in paternity fraud, and the current statistics for this puts Nigerian as the second highest
after Jamaica.
Second highest in the world, with around 30% of cases of paternity fraud in the population. This figure, though, can be debatable.
Yes.
But in assumption, what can these figures, be attributed to from your own submission?
Two things. First and foremost, because there are no figures here, so anything thrown at us from the West is presumed to be correct. Also, you begin to wonder what are the statistics in a country of 200 million people and still counting. And then you take a statistics of 200 people and then you just conclude that from that statistics taken, then the presumption is that every other person is like that. So it puts a big question mark on that statistics. But also, it gives credence to it because we don't have any contrary one to contradict what had been stated, put out there. But what also that does is that you find out that in the big cities, in metropolitan towns like Lagos, where everybody is busy, some doing nothing, everybody is on the move, there are a lot of lapses in the family. And then coupled with the fact that there's this stigmatization about once you are married, the essence of getting married is to give birth to children. And that stigma is always on the woman and not the man. Nobody cares whether the man has have problem. The question is, let the woman, this woman can't bear children. Or even a situation where you get married, even your mother comes to you as a woman and say, you never did spit, So the pressure is on the woman to father or to give birth to children. And so you find the women in some cases doing anything, just to be pregnant. In some, even before this idea of having to, commit adultery, most cases, if you go into research, you find out that most paternity fraud actually are committed by religious leaders. Women in the quest of, birthing children will go to, any church afar, including Babalawos, who will at some point tell them, oh, don't worry, the spirit will come, all sorts. So you hear all sorts. But like I said, the statistics, also is debatable. So all of this now is putting a lot of pressure on the family that people now begin to talk about, oh, you need to do paternity, you need to do DNA for your children and the rest. But, well, we are where we are. and then we just hope that the awareness will only limit, the menace.
All right. Many thanks, Liborous, for that submission, and of course for being real on this platform and enlightening us on a lot of things, which I'm going to still touch on some certain things that you made mention of. You were talking about the angle of the religious aspect and some of the issues that have disrupted our society, so to speak, and listening to what Dr. Dedino have also shared, regarding the religious angle of ours. I can't help but ask that why should DNA be a last resort for most people? Why can't it be legalized?
I would quote from the position of the Court of Appeal in Tonia Anozie and Patricia Okwana.
Okay.
And the court said it is unimaginable for a court to order a citizen, a senior citizen for that matter, to submit to DNA tests in defiance of their fundamental right to privacy,
okay,
for the purpose of extracting scientific evidence to assist the father to confirm or disprove his wish that an alleged son is his child. And so, for the court to say, look, we don't want to be part of granting that order to you, let's subject this man to DNA test. It is fundamental right to privacy. Okay. Let's submit this child for DNA test. And like the doctor said, the moment you get to that level, it means you're at the point of no return. You either move forward or you beat a retreat. Yeah. And I had a client who's he had a son who was, always on his case. And then he said he wanted to do a DNA test if truly that child was his. And I told him, I said, well, it's your right to so do. But two things might likely happen. What if the child turn out to be yours? And then the child, knowing fully well that you have questioned his paternity, if it turns out that you are truly his father, then there will be issues. And then, as if the boy was reading my thoughts, when he heard, he came to his father and said, I'm ready to submit. He was 24 then. I'm ready to submit for a DNA test. But mark me, if I find out that you're my father, then the hell will be let loose. But if you are not my father, I will know what to do. At the end of the day, he advised
Where
himself.
was the mother in this whole scenario?
The mother was in the village. I think he had him when they were young.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, he advised himself against it and said, no, he would rather manage the boy psychologically. And today the guy is, the young man at that time was just being, youthful. But today he's doing fantastically well. Because sometimes it depends on the situation, though. I won't say yes, I won't say no.
Okay.
Even before now, even these Europeans that we so copy, if in those days, even in America, quickly permit me, it says the man shall be presumed to be the natural father of a child if he and the child's natural mother are or have been married to each other and the child is born during the marriage or within 300 days after the marriage is terminated. That's the position of the law in America until some state had modified. Now some state you can even de-establish paternity. Mm-hmm. The marital presumption protects parents and children. It also protects the sanctity of marriage by assuming the husband and wife have been both be true to their marital vows. And if you go further down, there's a particular case, not the Indiana Supreme Court, did at some point refuse to query the paternity of the establishment of a paternity on the ground that it also infringes on the right to privacy of the child. So that said, the pressure, societal pressure on women, we should also de-emphasize societal pressure. A situation where all we want to hear is that once you're married, you have children. Mm-hmm. And then communication is very key. A lot of people don't understand that once you get married, that is when communication actually should start. Yeah. Some people believe that once you get married, you have conquered the opposite sex and then everything should be normal. We also do not understand that these days we spend longer time in the office than we spend at home. Mm-hmm. So all of this put together, coupled with, like I said, societal pressure, coupled adds to the issues of paternity fraud as we have it, in our society today?